if the position versus time graph is curved, how do you find the instantaneous velocity at 2 seconds? If you take an AP Physics 1, you might say that it's the displacement divided by the change in time. But that only gives you the average velocity. But in this video, we want to learn how to find the instantaneous velocity. Let's start with a constant velocity problem. Our position equation states x is equal to 4t plus 2, and we want to find the average velocity from t equals to 1 second to t equals 3 seconds. And here's a graph of our equation. So first, we're going to plug in 1 into our equation. And plugging 1 into our equation gives us 1 times 4 is 4. 4 plus 2, and we get 6 meters. Then we're going to plug in 3 seconds into our equation. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14 meters. Next, we're going to use our average velocity equation, which is the change in position or displacement divided by the change in time. The change in position is 14 minus 6. The change in time is 3 minus 1, and that gives us 8 over 2, which is 4 meters per second. If you take a look at our graph, you'll notice that the slope is a straight line. So picking any 2 points will give you the slope of this line, and because it is a straight line, we have the same slope anywhere along this line. So not only is 4 meters per second our average velocity, but it's also our instantaneous velocity. But the question then follows, which is, what if this was not a straight line? What if this is curved? How would we find the instantaneous velocity at a particular time? Next, we're going to take a look at an accelerating object with an equation, with a position equation of x equals to t squared. Notice that on the position versus time graph, that the graph is curved. Now let's say we want to find the instantaneous velocity at 2 seconds. How would we do that? Now you might say, well, what about if we pick 2 points like at 2 seconds and 4 seconds and draw a straight line and found the slope of that line? Would that get us the instantaneous velocity? The answer is it would not. It would get us a number close to it, but it would not give us the instantaneous velocity because this is the average velocity between 2 and 4 seconds. Well, you might say, well, what if we move this dot closer? We picked 2 dots that were closer, such as this dot right here, and we drew a straight line and found the slope of that line. Wouldn't that give us the instantaneous velocity at 2 seconds? And the answer is that it would get us a closer number to the instantaneous velocity, but it wouldn't get us there exactly at 2 seconds. Here is a chart of the average velocity as we decrease the interval of the 2 points that we're picking to calculate the average velocity. So you can see that as we decrease the interval of the time interval, that our average velocity gets closer and closer and closer to the instantaneous velocity. So mathematically, what we're essentially doing is to find the instantaneous velocity, we need to find the limit of delta x over delta t as delta t approaches 0. And in calculus, we have just a fancy way of writing this, which is dx over dt. There's also a name for dx over dt. We call this a derivative, and we say that this is the derivative of x with respect to t. To find the derivative, number 1, we're going to bring the exponent down, and step 2, we're going to subtract 1 from the exponent. So the derivative of t squared is, I'm going to move the 2 down, so here's the 2, times t, and I'm going to subtract 1 from the exponent, so that's just going to be t to the power of 1, so just 2t. Now, if I want to find the instantaneous velocity of the object at 2 seconds, I can plug in 2 there, and 2 times 2 is 4, so 4 meters per second. If I want to find the instantaneous velocity at 3 seconds, I just plug in 3. 3 times 2 is 6 meters per second. So you can see how easy this is, instead of trying to pick two dots that are really, really, really close together, we can just find the derivative of the equation to calculate the instantaneous velocity. And what the derivative does is essentially calculating the slope of that equation. Let's take a look at this position equation, which has a coefficient. You'll notice the number in front of the letter. And then it also has multiple terms. So it's not just 3t squared, but it's 3t squared plus 2t. And we want to find the initial velocity of this object. First, we're going to find the derivative of this position equation. So we get that v is equal to dx over dt. Remember, the derivative of the position equation gives us the velocity. And we're going to use the two steps I told you earlier to find the derivative. We're going to bring the exponent down. So 2, we're going to bring it down. If there's a coefficient, we're going to multiply that. So it's going to be 6t. We're going to subtract 1 from the exponent. So it's just 6t plus. And then we have the coefficient here. There's an exponent of 1, so 2 times 1 is just 2. And because we're going to subtract 1 from the exponent, it's like taking 1 minus 1. So it's t to the 0th power, which is just 1. So it's just going to be 2. To find the initial velocity, we can substitute 0 for the time. And we get that 0 times 6 is 0. And so we get 2 meters per second. If you want to find what is the instantaneous velocity at 2 seconds, just plug in 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So at 2 seconds, the velocity is 14 meters per second. Next, we'll take a look at a position equation with a negative sign in it. And we want to ask the question, when is the object momentarily at rest? So once again, we're going to find the derivative of our position equation. Dx over dt is equal to 2t minus 6. To find when the object is momentarily at rest, we're going to substitute 0 for the velocity. So for an instant, the object is not moving, and so that 0 is equal to 2t minus 6. So this means that 2t is equal to 6, and t is equal to 3 seconds. We can also find the initial velocity by plugging in 0 for t. And if we plug 0 for t, we get 2 times 0 is 0 minus 6, and we get negative 6 meters per second. From this, we can construct a graph of this equation. Since this equation here follows the y is equal to mx plus b, we can use the slope intercept equation y equals mx plus b to create this graph. So this negative 6 tells me my y-intercept is here. From what I calculated earlier, its instantaneous velocity is 0 at 3 seconds, so I could plot that there. And because this does follow that y equals mx plus b, the slope is going to be 2. So this slope is going to be 2. And if you remember from AP Physics 1, the slope of a velocity versus time graph tells you the acceleration. So the acceleration of this object is 2 meters per second squared. Next, we're going to look at a cubic function. X is equal to t cubed minus 6t squared plus 9t. First, we want to find out when is the object at rest. So we're going to find the derivative of the position equation, which will give us the velocity equation. So the derivative of the position equation is 3t squared minus 12t plus 9. To find when the object is at rest, we're going to substitute 0 for v. So we have 0 is equal to, I'm going to factor out the 3. So we get t squared minus 4t plus 3. Okay. We divide 3 on both sides. So we end up with 0 is equal to, and then we're going to factor this parentheses out. So we're going to write t minus 3 times t minus 1. Okay, so now we're going to solve for t because we need the right side to equal 0. So t can either be 3 seconds or t can be 1 second. Here's a velocity versus time graph representing the motion of our object. So at 1 and 3 seconds, the velocity is 0. Now, when is the velocity positive and when is it negative? So let's go ahead and plug in some numbers and see if we can figure that out. So if I plug in 0 for the time, I get 0, 0 on this term will be 0, that will be 0, and so I end up with 9. Let's go ahead and plug in a number between 1 and 3. Let's plug in 2. So if I plug in 2, I get negative 3. And if I plug in 4 into this velocity equation, I will also get 9. Okay, so at t equals 0, the velocity is 9. And at t equals 4 seconds, it also has a velocity of 9. And at t equals 2 seconds, it has a velocity of negative 3. So let's say this is negative 3. Let's say that is right there. Okay, so we get this graph. And you could see that before 1 seconds, we have a positive velocity. Between 1 and 3 seconds, we have a negative velocity. And after 3 seconds, we have a positive velocity. If you found this video helpful, check out my next video on acceleration and derivatives.